Mm. Mm.
What
What up, my guy? What up, dude? What's going on?
Nah, shit, just fucking doing some stuff before I go to work.
You know what I mean? Yeah, got you. Hey, yeah, it's Sunday. You going?
Yeah, I work. I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off,
Okay, got you.
which is actually good because then I can like fully focus on this during the week and then work the weekends.
That's valid. Yeah, that's actually fire. Mm, yeah, today I was just gonna run through some stuff. We got the psychology videos coming out this week for the course, and one of the topics is gonna be traps. So they have like bull traps and like bear traps. And basically a trap is when the market, let me show you. So the market does what's called engineering liquidity. So you can see like there's some wicks here, right? Price creates this kind of line. And then we have some wicks down here as well. And then that creates like a bottom line. And maybe this is like prices range. So if you have a price range, in order to create a trap, right, we need to trap something. So that something that we're trapping is buyers and sellers. So oftentimes we think of the market when it comes down to like retail and stuff. We'll think of the market with like support and resistance. So maybe there's a line here, and then there's a line here. So if it breaks this line, we usually like to go for sells, right? So you can see pushes down below this line, quote unquote, you'd go for sells. If you go for sells, then you're basically going to be trapped in this position. So what happens when it goes for sells, pushes down, right? And then maybe it comes back up with that U-turn ideology. This area here, this is called the trap, right? So they pushed it down to give you something, right? Whether that was the actual trade and you were supposed to get out. If you stayed in and were too greedy, they bring it back up straight to the range area. So that causes people that were interested in taking it lower, right, to get into sells. It pushes a little bit below. Maybe that wasn't good enough for you. So you stay in, swiftly brings it right back to the same level. So your stop loss now exists maybe above the range. So that would be this high or this level. So if they trap a seller here, then they know the stop loss exists here. So they're able to take it up here and they do what's called engineering liquidity, meaning they gave you an opportunity to get you into a trade. they give you an opportunity to get out of that trade, right? But maybe that wasn't as low as you would like. So if you were greedy, then they take it back up to where you got in. They force you to get stopped out by taking it to an area of discomfort that's really far from a retail entry. So this is why we call it a trap, right? Because you impulsively got into that position and you're able to see this thing push, right, to different levels. So now they can push it right back to the same area, but then they do something quite similar again, right? So now they trapped in the seller, engineering that liquidity, and then they push for the buys. So as they're pushing for buys, you think the same ideology again. Now you can go for buys. And then they reach for the highs again, go right back into the range, and now they trap the buyers. Now that they trap the buyers and the sellers, they can move this thing wherever they want to. So this is what we like to call engineering liquidity. So every time you think the market's going to do something, it just completely goes the opposite way based off of, whatever the quote unquote vibe is for that week. So usually, if there's a really tight range, they will use these traps, right, to do again what's called engineering liquidity, meaning leaving orders below here, leaving orders above here, and then usually there's news on a Thursday or a Friday, and then they'll use the above orders or the below orders to reach back, grab it, and then run, right? That's why we call it a trap. Um, does this sound familiar to anyone? You think you've ever been pushed into this kind of position where you've been trapped?
Probably, yeah,
Yeah,
probably without even
For
realizing
sure.
it.
kind
For sure.
of engineer liquidity for market closes past Friday. Okay, yeah, let's take a look at Friday. So John said they got a looks like they might have engineered liquidity this past Friday. Is it specific on a time frame, bro?
Nah, bro, it was more just that big ass dip right there, and then all with that wick back up. Like if you were to put it on, I don't know, say that 2 hour, 2 to 4 hour maybe. Just really that wick
Yeah.
from this that was
Okay.
created. Yeah, that was it.
So how do I put this? So let's pull up Safari real quick. Let's go to forexfactory.com. So traps are best made when there's anticipated news. So if there was nothing, like for example, this upcoming week has we got a lot of yellow and orange folders, right? All the way until Wednesday. Wednesday we have a federal meeting. So 100% there's no folders that are red until the middle of the week. Monday and Tuesday are probably going to be spent creating engineered liquidity. And then they'll use the red folders to reach for one of those traps, grab it, and then turn it the other way. Um,
Sorry, I had a question about this. Is this something you've already gone over, like that, like this is like the news cycle, or something like you're gonna go over in the future?
yeah, something I'll be going over in the future. So it shouldn't sound too foreign because a lot of the psychologies of our trading strategies fit this criteria. So for example, the 1, 2, 3 idea, right? If you take the first and then the second and then you extend it across, it'll probably take you to wherever the third might be, right? So you can see, sorry, yeah. So 1, 2, maybe you get that third one there. So
Yeah.
this strategy that we use kind of takes this philosophy already and implements it. But me introducing this to you in the manner of like a trap can now have you in the headspace of, is a range supposed to break right now? Or when it falls out of the range, is this just a trap where if I buy, they're going to reverse price, make me get stopped out, right, at a different level, and then they'll take a run. And sometimes you can catch some pretty fire trades. So if you see the 1, 2, 3 strategy and the order block, and it just so happens to fall out of the range and touch all of those things, you could also think of that as like, oh, okay, this might be one of those traps he was talking about. So everyone's probably going to get into sells when it really is showing you buys at 1, 2, and 3 and an order block. So sometimes the chart for me looks like buys, and a lot of people are like, bro, why are you getting in buys? It looks like sells right now. But knowing the philosophy of a trap, they're just trying to put that face on for you. So then you buy the other side and then you get trapped into it. And now I'm making money and you got caught by the cycle, if that makes sense. So the philosophy of it shouldn't be too foreign, but no, it was never introduced in this manner. But I think it's helpful to think of it this way.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know if it was like I missed a couple of Zoom calls, so I didn't know if it was like something that you already touched on and I just missed out on.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, that's why I figured it'd be pretty cool to start getting on like calls like this before the week starts because there's going to be a lot of news this week. So if you're not used to trading, like there's a lot of newer people in here as well. So if you're not used to trading, then you could get caught in some of these things. So if I can make you aware of them, then maybe we can take advantage of them. And if you guys can see it as well, that's more eyeballs on the market and provides more opportunities. So, mm, all right. So there's another concept that I like to introduce on the psychology level that I think fits very well with this traps idea. So we're going to look at more trap opportunities in a second, but there's this thing called the layering effect. You probably heard me talk about it a few times, but the layering effect helps me think of the market in many different ways and then picking the one that best suits me at the moment. So, for example, let's say you're looking at the chart and we see, like John said earlier, there's a pretty nice wick here at the bottom. Why did this price just turn around, right? For no reason. We know that the market is very calculated. Usually, if something happens on the market, it's not for just no reason. There's probably intention behind it. You're probably just missing the point. So, if we were to look at this wick, we can give it a reason of why it could have done such things. So, if we take that wick and just extend it across, we'll see what area is over here. And then we're like, oh shit, okay, there's an order block. I like that. So order block is there. That's a good point. We just had the 1, 2, 3 idea kind of pushed up here. Maybe, this 1, 2, 3 idea works pretty well. Kind of extends from pretty far actually. So a lot of touches on that trend line works well. So the layering effect gives us the opportunity to say, oh shit, look, 1, 2, 3 into an order block. That works. But there's also another philosophy somewhere there. So I know there's a 1, 2, 3 in order block. Cool. I can now throw that in the back of my mind and get it off of my chart. That just helped me understand, okay, that's pretty bullish, right? I can stick to the buy side. What else is going on here? This looks very rangy to me. And by rangy, I just mean price stayed right here and right here for a while. So if we extend this across, we can probably adjust this box a little bit. Cool. Again, we talked about traps, right? If it falls out the range, eventually it used the 1, 2, 3 and that order block to swiftly go right back up. So that means this level here is probably that range bottom that most people took sells for. If they fell and brought it back up, stop losses now exist where? Probably above the range. So there's a good chance that this is where their stop losses would be. If I got in sells, my stop loss would have to go to the new high, which would allow all of this to eventually push me down, right? That is quote unquote the ideology of a trap. So if I have the 1, 2, 3 and the order block, and I see that the sellers are trapped, right? Because they took sells, came right back up to where they could have gotten sells. So the best bet is we need to go stop out the sellers from here. So that's usually above like the most recent high. So that would be quote unquote that trap. So that also allows me to layer on a philosophy of saying, all right, yeah, we definitely need to get above this high. So when we talk about a layering effect, that first philosophy gave me one aspect that says go up. The second philosophy gives me another aspect that says go up. So if all things are pointing in the same direction, I can add more confidence and confluence to the trade. And now I don't mind, buying bigger contract amounts as long as it holds, the parameters, and then we actually get to where we're going. So if that makes sense, using the traps ideology, right, mixed in with your strategy, and whatever other philosophies you can add on, the more things that point in the right direction, the more confidence you have, which means you can start adding way more contracts than usual. And that's how you know you got a banger on your hands, right? That you're about to make more money than you usually do. So, if that leads to questions, feel free to interrupt me, but I can definitely show you guys more traps.
That ideology definitely helps the mindset of looking at it now.
Hell yeah. Yeah, bro. There's a lot of ways again to view the market. You just have to pick which one really serves you, especially during certain market weeks, because sometimes there's not a lot of news. So you know that maybe the market's gonna be pretty slow, or it's got a lot of news, so it could be very volatile. So I think that's what makes trading so intricate and very hard for people who have no experience. They don't know when to use what, so they try to use the same thing every day, and the same thing doesn't really always serve. And maybe you don't get a trade every single day, but when you do, if you stick to one strategy, at least you have like a risk to reward and safety ratio. You know what I mean? But for us, there's money in the market every day. We see this all the time. So maybe it doesn't fit your strategy, but somebody is making money today. You know what I mean? So if we can at least get into the headspace of switching these philosophies on a dime, it will allow you to present more opportunities for yourself. So if you did have to make money today, although it doesn't fit your strategy, the philosophies adding up really well. So eventually your strategy will present itself. And when it does, you can be even more confident than you normally would be if you just only stuck to one, right? When it comes down to market philosophy, at least. So it's very intricate stuff, but the more we talk about it and the more we have the conversations for it, I think it'd be very easy to start thinking in that manner as a trader. And then you'll be able to see it for yourself, and you find your own way to find that footing, I guess you could say.
Definitely interesting to see the box strategy you just did there. I mean, we've done it numerous times, but I've never really quite put in the mindset of the stop losses and like when they're chasing the stop loss from the other direction. So that like definitely changed my perspective a little bit.
Yeah. What I'll say is it's pretty dangerous. It's like I like to think, ignorance is bliss, right? So if you didn't understand that philosophy, then you wouldn't think in that manner too much. And what I mean by that is if this is the range, let's say this is your range here, and as a retail guy, you see it breaking this range, so you go for buys. Ignorance is bliss. So if you didn't have the ideology that I just introduced to you, you wouldn't care to realize that you could be trapped. So you'd just kind of stay in and maybe it goes up and like it's working for you for a little while, which is fine. You'll definitely be making money. But the moment you get trapped in there, now that philosophy is going to serve you and then you're on, and then you can see trade opportunities. But sometimes you'll make a little bit of change, but you need to actually get out. Otherwise, again, you get trapped. And if you become the dude who's trapped, then you'll definitely be stuck with what happens when a trap takes place. Stop losses go to the low, and they're going straight for that, and then they'll turn it around later. You know what I mean? Um, so the trap ideologies, again, pretty dope because it just shows you areas of opportunity and allows you to switch up on the market when need be, because they're definitely going to use you if they need you.
Is that something you try to like game the game on and like make money off of, or do you try to stay away from traps when you recognize them?
Traps help me pick days to be more aggressive or sit out on. right? So let's think of it like this. Assuming traps have a like a time horizon, right? So let's see. Short answer is no, I don't just look for the trap and be like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a good trade. It's usually I need to see my strategy first. Um, and then if I see maybe there's news coming up and stuff, they're probably gonna trap someone with the news first and then continue the strategy. So I understand that I probably shouldn't be too hasty and I have time until that trap presents itself and then I can get in with them. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. But so this candle here is like the start of this range, right? This box. Let's assume that the number of time that it stays inside of the range is always the same. All right, so let's say here's when it first got out of the range. So for 17 hours, it does absolutely nothing but stay in the range. So with this philosophy, we're going to assume that it takes 17 hours to create the top and the bottom, which is going to give us the areas of, I guess, that trap, right? So let's label the traps. So this is the lowest point, and then this is the highest point within that 17-hour period. If we know 17 hours is how long it takes, you don't have to participate in the trades in all of this stuff because they're just engineering liquidity. So if they haven't grabbed liquidity yet, they technically can't move the market in one direction smoothly, right? I like smooth trades. I like to get in, the thing runs as fast as possible to exactly where I want it to go, and I can get out. I don't like being tested too much. That's why I skip a lot of the news heavy days, because they love manipulation to get the best price. That being said, it takes this long to create the range. Once we identify the high and the low of the range, now I'm like, okay, this is starting to look pretty good. We got a long pause. We got a long range here. So they're going to have to take one of these highs, one of these lows. So you can see it's doing a whole lot of testing here. All of this is not something I want to be involved in. But look at the time right here. This is 9:30 a.m. The most manipulation comes out of market hours from 9:30 to 4 p.m., right? But maybe this thing traps at a certain time. Let's say it traps at 2 p.m. Let's see. Here's the candles. Goes for a run. What time is this run? 10:45. Finally goes back in at what time? 1:45, 2 p.m. 2 p.m., we know the market starts finally going into what we like to call power hour, which is the last few hours of the market, right? After we see it traps, retest this area, and what do we have here along with that trap? We got an order block. So this is the perfect ideology for us to be like, okay, cool. Manipulation seems to be done. Now we need to use this order block. The trap has already happened. So we just need something to push us for the stop losses, right? So maybe this is going to be an afternoon trade, or sorry, an evening trade, right? Might happen around Asian session tomorrow or London. So here's London around 3 something. You can see it goes back into this little order block again. So it's trying it. And then it completely bleeds out, right? So again, we don't like too much manipulation. So it took all trading day for them to just fuck around at the top of this level. And then before the market closes, they do this nice little drop at 2 o'clock, goes right back to the order block at 4. Market closes, and they got it right back down here. So as soon as we got some volume, probably around London session, which is here, that London session volume took it perfectly under prior to the market open. And then they'll use market open to bring it probably right back into the range if that's something that they wanted to do again. What time is this? 9:30 a.m. They brought it right back into the range. There goes the other trap. This is manipulation. Does this make sense?
Yeah, it does.
For sure.
Yeah. So timing in the market is everything. If you can become a master at the times of volatility, and the intention of how they should move, then you'll be able to see those opportunities and say, wow, this makes so much sense. At 9:30, they just take it from this position of falling straight back into that range. Whereas yesterday, they fought really hard to get it right back down into that range. So, what is the real game here? What are they doing? They're obviously not trying to make it obvious to the regular person that doesn't have the data and access to philosophy that the way we do. So, the regular person isn't looking at the market in this manner. They just see this line. So they're like, okay, if it's under this line, I go for sells. And if they take it down and they don't get out, they probably get clapped again and engineered liquidity takes place once more. If they see this level, they go for buys and then they get clapped again, engineered liquidity, right? So if they can do that to the average guy, there's probably millions of those dudes. So it's easier for them to move money around the market when they get to manipulate you in any which way that they'd like. So using the things that we understand, right? 1, 2, 3 into an order block, liquidity grabs, 9:30 volume, right? All of these things can really give us the opportunity to take advantage and say, wow, these traps are really mapping out pretty well. And the strategies on the screen, this is going to be a really good trade. So if they trap this, probably going to go for these highs, and then we can probably, make bank. There's only one order block in the way, so who knows how it goes, right? So it's a very strange philosophy how it works. And it could be complicated if you'd like it to be, but it has to be very simple for it to fit in your trading strategies. So don't overcomplicate this. It only exists in the range. So if the range is not obvious, then maybe you should hang it up and get more practice, or just ask questions and be like, yo, is anybody else seeing this kind of trap going on right now? And if they're going to trap buyers or sellers, then you can bet against that picture and make some pretty good money when it does this U-turn ideology, right? Because this nice run is fire. And I'm sure there's a smaller time frame, 1, 2, 3 in there somewhere that caused this big rally. And then we know that the premium and discount allows us to take it right back into the range and then more than likely take it above and back out the range. So I'm sure when we talk about traps, it sounds very familiar to a lot of different philosophies we already use. So that's why I said it shouldn't sound too foreign.
So when you see that U-turn about to happen, like how are you like picking like entry points, or if you are trying to like make a play on it? Like I heard you say like 1, 2, 3. Is there like anything else you would use to get in on the U-turn?
Oh yeah, I think the hardest part for a lot of people to understand is the higher time frame manipulation and what we like to call like top-down analysis. So it's very hard to teach as well because it's like there's no definitive laws to this thing, right? It just works. So the one thing that's coming to my brain right now is like it's like a kid who goes to school, right? There's a whole population of individuals. Kids go to school, and when they go to school, there's a lot of them, but depending on their experiences in school, they all turn out to be very different in the future. But in that moment, we know that school is the event that they're all going through. So, how this fits on the chart in my mind, it kind of looks like this. So, school is like this really huge order block on the 4-hour chart. This is school for us. So in the event of school, we know it takes a really long time from like first all the way to 12th grade. And we have to do it anyway, right? So there's a really big space for this kid to go through everything he's going to go through. So it's very hard to tell the trajectory of this kid's life just based off of his regular classes. But as that kid goes further into school, he starts touching more micro things that start to take his interest elsewhere. And you might be able to tell where he takes his interest in and who he might become in the future. Maybe he takes more art classes, right? Compared to the other guy who takes more math classes. So the more intricate you can narrow down, the easier it is to predict where this kid will go in the future. That being said, this whole area is really huge, so it's very hard to tell where it's going to go. But if we start going into a lower time frame inside of that school event, right, which was here, this really huge green box, there's nothing that gives us anything as an edge. But if we go lower, there's something down here, anything, right? Here's an order block. Maybe this is that intricacy level that we need in order to take him back into that order block on a higher time frame. So here's a 5-minute chart. Is there anything down here? Maybe the 5-minute has something as well. There's an order block here, extend that across, closed out. So that's not going to help us. So as you start going to these lower time frames, something's got to add up. So when you start playing around and looking at things, there's touches 1, 2, 3, extended down. This is here as well. That's pretty nice. You align that all the way down, touches to this, and there's an order block there. So maybe on this smaller time frame, we can see that it wants to turn around here, and there's still time left on that 4-hour candle. So if we can get that 4-hour candle to go all the way back up and close, technically, it never closed out the 4-hour order block, if that makes sense. So using smaller time frame can allow me to get into a position right now. And then if it holds all of these, then we can take it back. So now if I switch back to the 4-hour, it looks like a really nice wick that came up and still held the 4-hour order block. It was never closed. So using that smaller time frame allowed me to narrow in how I will get in, which allowed me to switch back to the higher time frame and see, okay, cool, we held the order block. So now all we need is the high, for example, which would be here. So using these smaller order blocks or smaller events, when we start to really see the micro things that are happening, then we can predict the future off of really small events. But these small events are super niched, right? So we're looking for only bullish or bearish activity. So that trap idea shows that, okay, if we dig deep enough, people won't want to buy it anymore because it could look very dangerous. But on a smaller time frame, it looks really good for a 1, 2, 3 into an order block, which gives us an edge compared to someone else who's like, fuck, this is way too deep. It's probably just going to fall. It's not coming back up. There's no way. You know what I mean? Because the market's going to do what it wants anyway, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that was a great explanation.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that fucking clicked.
easy bet. So what's that? 64 bench. So like how do I put this? So if that makes sense, then multi-level time frames, again, it's like really intricate. So it's hard to just give one answer and be like, yeah, man, if you see 4 hours looking good and then the 15 and then the 5 and then the 1, then it's like, bro, what the hell are you talking about, bro? Like there's a lot of stuff to look at, right? So that's why we try to teach very, very simple stuff, and then you will start to see how I guess you can maneuver in the world, right? So that being said, all of these philosophies are, again, they're just philosophies. So if they don't serve you, then you don't need to use it. Just dump it. You don't need it. But it could be good for someone. So as long as you can say, oh, I can see that, then at least it's good enough, and it'll serve you whenever the market gives you that opportunity that might look familiar. And then if it does, then cool. Take it to your advantage and then throw it away later until you see it again. You know what I mean? It's like tools in a toolbox, you know what I'm saying? So does that lead you guys to some questions?
I got some questions to piggyback off of yesterday's Zoom, bro.
Yeah.
So like I guess the original goal, the only goal, I guess, is to pay ourselves with trading, right? And to do that like efficiently, we want to like create like a LLC, and then just kind of transfer our funds to the LLC and then pay ourselves from the LLC. Is that like what we're aiming for?
Okay. You're asking on the manner of like how to start paying yourself?
Yeah, essentially. And to,
Okay.
see
Yeah.
this up
So
as a professional thing.
yeah. So the idea is to have accounts, of course. And with these accounts, we're able to categorize them. So we always start on personal accounts first. So that way you can fuck up as much as possible and as fast as possible, see how it works. And then you'd be able to transfer over to your business, right? And then you get business accounts. So now you have personal and you have business accounts. When you make your LLC, it's under a holding company first, just to get credit. And that credit will help you invest in things that you need, right? So you maybe, again, you need a mentor. You need
You just cut out.
Yeah, I think my Wi-Fi, or is it his Wi-Fi?
Yeah, I think it was his
Yeah,
Wi-Fi. I just started
It's
tripping.
his.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah, I think it's
uh but I think it's
kind of
AirPod.
cut out, bro.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think
Let me
I
turn
can.
Bluetooth real quick. Okay. All right, we good now?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think the AirPods connected for a second, so it fucked up the audio. Um, I'll just start from the top again. So paying yourself, right? You need the LLC. The LLC that you have now, right? If you have a holding company, it's just to get the credit, and the credit is what allows us to not have to operate out of cash. So you can get the mentor, get the laptop, get the Wi-Fi, right? It gets all the necessities to get the trading journey going. Because again, the only thing stopping you from actually making any money in trading is having a strategy. If you have a strategy, then you need enough money to trade with. That's going to make a difference, which is why we get prop firms. If we get a prop firm to actually give us the amount of money that we need, it allows us to make a trade with big money. And once you make that trade, you're able to take a percentage of it. If you're able to take that percentage, take the money out, pay off whatever the intricacies for trading is, it proves to you that the money's real, you're able to trade. Now you got the business working. So now you can actually take it legitimately. So you can make another LLC. This will be your trading company. So the holding company is just your startup. It's what allows you to use, right, the money that you don't have already, leverage, buy the things you need. Now that you know the shit works and you want to take it serious, now we make our trading LLC. We get a bunch of business accounts under the trading LLC. And using that, we can now have business equity and revenue, right? So the more money that you rack up in that account, the more you can use that money for business operations. So for me, I'm traveling, right? Airbnbs, flights. I'm a traveling trader. If that's the way you choose to maneuver, all the money that you make in that LLC can be used towards the things that have to do with your business expenses. And if you keep it all there, you can pay for all your necessities that pertain to trading, right? If you don't, then yes, you would have to pay yourself. You put it on like a payroll. So you would give yourself a certain percentage of the profits, keeping most of it in the LLC for revenue purposes, letting the equity build up. But you also have personal accounts that you're able to take from as well. So you have your payroll and you just have personal accounts that you would just pay your regular tax on with no write off. And that would be like extra bonus money, if that makes sense. So the more money you can rack up, the more we can put business expense and personal expense separately, but gain on both aspects. But you won't feel like taxes eating too much from you, because business operations should be your most expensive bills, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're kind of using to split the tax brackets. You're not making like too much on personal to like pump you up, and then you're also getting business write-offs. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, and most of the people that I teach that, find success with having this as a part-time income, it's still part-time income. So they still enjoy the job that they do. They just wanted to make more money for maybe an extra trip at the end of the year, or, something fancy you wanted to buy. Then you get to keep your job and you can still, make money on the side that can increase in equity that you may not need now, but a year from now, you probably want to take a pretty fancy trip. So as that accumulates, pay your taxes, right? Take the trip, and at least it's not coming out of work money, until you can turn trading up to something that you live off entirely for yourself.
Okay, so pretty much the holdings LLC, we're not gonna be looking for any type of like tax benefit through that one, more just waiting until we get the actual trading, like a professional business trading LLC. It's gonna be, we're gonna be looking for like those additional benefits, taxes
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
gotcha.
So, the cool part about LLCs and all this stuff is most of these LLCs that we have, we're not incorporated companies. We don't have employees. This is all based off of you. So it's classified as sole proprietorship. But when you use an EIN, it's at least separate from your social security. So you can go in as much debt as you need to for your trading journey, and it won't affect your personal credit score. So you can still get a car, get a house, live like a normal human being, and allow your business scenario to take its course, right? Because we don't want to have a bad credit score trying to do trading, and now we have really high interest rates, and it's like eating at these things, right? So the 0% interest helps us get a period of time that will give us the moment, right, of fresh air to use everything that we've acquired in order to make this thing work without a lot of the pressure. So if you can do it in a timely manner, you won't have to experience the interest game because it creates a very stressful environment for yourself. So separating the business and the personal allows your personal credit score to not take a hit, while obviously you're looking to fail as fast as possible in the trading world. Because if you did it all on personal and then you failed, that failure is actually going to hurt because the interest rates are going to be increasing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, thanks for explaining it like that, like across the board, because that's something I've been really wondering about for a while now with the holding LLC and stuff.
Oh, bet. Yeah, sorry. So my bad. So yeah, the way that I'm teaching you guys is it's like I don't want to bite off more than we can chew, and we're just not there yet. So
Right, creating problems for solutions that aren't there.
yeah,
For sure, for sure. That's why I didn't overwhelm them with too many questions.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I understand it's also good to see the bigger vision though, right? Because at the end of the day, we are grown ass men, so I'm sure we can understand the philosophy behind a lot of this stuff. So I think now with all the trading experiences that you guys have, and you can see the money moving, this conversation is easier to have. But if it was like 8 months ago, it would be like,
right.
what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, you know what I
For
mean?
sure, for sure.
Right. So I think it's dope. It just shows the maturity behind the growth that is happening right now. So I think it's dope that you guys are able to understand it and can see the idea presenting itself. So, and if you don't understand, then that is okay. We're working towards that ideology. This shit was never taught to us. And even in school, they can't teach you this way because this shit is not in our education system. This is entrepreneurship and trading. And there's a very small percentage of the world that actually lives off of the trading profits they make. So, and it's not because we're some fucking D1 athletes. It's just there's a lot of discipline involved, and people barely take care of themselves, let alone fucking are able to maneuver their mind this way. So the better we can get at this, the more opportunities we see in the market, take advantage of it. Otherwise, it's just normal living, bro. You need to go amongst your life the way you do until the market gives you an opportunity to get another 10 bands. And the more you can accumulate, it's all numbers, right? 1 + 1 is always going to equal 2, bro. So if you're looking for $100,000 a year, we need $1 million in funding. So that way, when you do make a trade, it can be easy, 10%. If you can make 10% by the end of the year, easy day. You know what I'm saying? I can have a $10,000 day with 100,000. So imagine me making a 10% day with 1 million. You know what I'm saying? That's $100,000 a day. The only thing that's in between me making 10 bands in a trade and $100,000 in a trade is how much money I'm using. So it's the
Yeah,
same exact trade. You just need more money. So the goal here is to get as many accounts as possible just to see how you can turn it up. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, before I was ever able to touch any amounts of money, $10,000 was a lot to me. It took me months to even see a $10,000 trade and be like, damn, bro, this is worth it. But now, like, it could happen in a day. It happens sometimes in like 5 minutes. The shit fucking liquidates and it goes up, and I'm up 10, and I'm like, oh, nice. It's pretty cool. So if that's, the life that eventually is going to exist for you, money eventually becomes like not real. And you start realizing that $10,000 isn't actually 10K. Because if you wanted to go buy a car right now, but you're a trader, that car has nothing to do with trading. So when you make 10K, they want 60% of it. So if that car is something you want to buy, you actually pay 16,000 for that $10,000 car because you pay taxes and you pay the amount that the car is paid. But if you pay for something that fits the business style, you're chilling. So if you have a holding company and you're making trading money and you make a rental car business, you can go buy a really nice car, leave it up for rent. Now it's a write off because it fits business. And the money that you put into your rental car company is from trading. So when it's time to pay taxes, you don't have to pay taxes to the government because you're going to inject that money into a company that's losing right now. It's losing because you have a car that's on a rent. It's on financing. You have to pay the financing off because it's supposed to make money. It's not making money right now. So you're using trading profits to pay for the car, but it's tax deductible. Because of the machine you created for yourself, you're able to take advantage of the opportunity. But if you didn't have a rental car company, you'd have to buy it for your personal name. That's not an asset, that's a liability. So depending
Yeah.
on how you understand it, you're able to maneuver the market a little better, create LLCs for businesses that actually pertain to your life rather than just buying shit. America's not meant to be owned. It's meant to be rented. You know what I mean?
Damn it,
Yo,
boy.
can I ask one more question before I gotta bounce forward?
Yeah, what's up?
Um, it's about the 936 strategy and like look so like every day I've been like first thing I do is like I go back and I look and I like set my lines for the 936, but I don't always know what I'm looking at, like what to take away from it. So like I watched your videos a few times and like I see like when they're like nice and separated, it's easy to see like okay like Asia got in here, and then like London came in, they like pushed it down or did whatever they did, and then like US enters here. But this week I was seeing like pretty much all their entry points were like right in the same line. Is there any information or data we can take away from that, or is it just like just is what it is? Nothing useful there.
No, there's again the market is super intentional. So whatever it gives you is there for a reason. So we can make it make sense for sure. But I'll say market experience is a big thing that's going to define whether you'd be able to like see what the task at hand is going on. So, for example, check this out, right? We're on the 4 hour chart. Look at all these candles from here. This is fucking May 6th. This is a really nice candle, May 6th. Since May 6th, all the way till here, which is the 9th, we didn't really have any really good candles. Lots of wicks, right? Lots of wicks. So that being said, your 936 strategy can't really be spaced out too well because it just keeps kind of how do you say staying basically stagnant, right, in this middle area. So it's very hard for them to take advantage of the market in higher time frame aspects. So they can only do it on a micro level, right? That being said, if they can only do it on a micro level, you'd have to stick to really small time frames, and then you will see the 936 strategy take place a little more because it's not trending right now. It's ranging. So it won't make sense to you in a range because it's just not easy to see. But it will make sense to you when the market's actually moving in a trend like this. So if you go look at the 936 in a trend, you'll see the exact scenarios and it'll make a lot of sense. But when you look at it in a range, it's very manipulating and manipulation oriented. So they try to use the 936 in a range to just make small change, right? I don't know if you're following what I'm saying on that manner, but I can show you.
No, I am so far.
Okay, cool. So let's break down one of these days. What I need you to keep in the back of your mind is that it's a range on a higher time frame, meaning that it technically
Right.
it can't run in one direction too far. So that being said, let's take 9 o'clock right here. So here's 9 o'clock, 936, right? Let's fast forward to 3 because 3 o'clock is when we really start getting like the 936 data.
Oh, one small question too while you're doing this. So if it's a red block, do you place your like line in the top or the bottom of the block?
For 936,
Yeah, when you're like drawing your lines out, like so if it's a red block, you're using like the top, like where it started.
Oh, I see what you mean. So you just want to be more focused on a high or a low. So it's not necessarily the color of the candle, it's how high is it compared to the timing. So for example, the 9 o'clock candle is what we're interested in. So here's 9 o'clock, this candle right here. If this is 9 o'clock, the highest point right next to it at 9:15. So I'm just going to go for the highest point here. So that would be 9:15. And if 2 is below 9, I go for the high. If 2 is above 9, then I'll go for the low of the candle, regardless of the color, because we just want the highest point and the lowest point of Asia session.
Okay, gotcha.
So let me give you the breakdown of it, right? Because it's pretty intricate, and I enjoy the 936 strategy. It makes me feel like I'm playing chess. So at 9 p.m. We'll just take 9 p.m. and just extend it across. We don't care where it's at right now. We're gonna move it, right? Think about it like art. You ever seen an artist, like you ever seen those YouTube videos where the artists are going crazy, bro? And they like it starts off with some fucking lines and you're like, what the hell? What are they drawing? But it's like a stencil, right? So in their mind, they can see the vision, but for us, we can't really tell what they're drawing until like they're halfway done the shit, you know? Um, that being said, the 9 and the 2, that's all we can do right now. Here's the 9 o'clock, and 2 o'clock is here. So here's the 2 o'clock, right? We'll extend that across. So this is a sketch. All we did was put a line across the 9 and the 2. But now, what information can we get out of this? All we're looking for is the high and low of the session. So since we have the lines put there, the high is right here, and the low before 2 is right here. So now that gives us Tokyo levels, right? So that would be Tokyo high and Tokyo low. Now that we have the 9 and the 2 data, we're going to do the same thing with the 3 and there's 3 at. So here's 3, and then we need 5 a.m. So we'll fast forward this to 5 a.m. It's coming up right here. So here's 5 a.m. So this is the 3 level, and this is the 5 a.m. level. So we'll label this London high, London low. Let's change the color so we can differentiate these. This part should sound familiar. This is how we do it, right? 936 strategy. So within the 3 and the 5, we need to find the highest point. Here's the highest point. And here's the lowest point so far. Now we know New York opens up at 6 a.m. 1, 2, and 3. Here's 6. Cool. Now, this is all the information we need. If we have Tokyo high and low and London high and low, we can determine what New York would likely do depending on what kind of entries these guys got. So this is where it starts to become a chess game. So if you don't know all the pieces on the board, it's going to be very hard for you to come up with a plan versus me, right? So if I have experiences with these pieces, I know where these things move. You may not. This is why the difference in market experience is going to determine whether you can use the 936 to its fullest capacity. So for me, what I see here is Tokyo's high, Tokyo's low. After that, 3 o'clock came around. From 3 o'clock, the first thing we touched was above Tokyo's high. That means London technically got in the same entry as Tokyo. They took it just above, got in. So that means Tokyo took sells, so London took sells. So if both of these took sells, what do they want? Right? If they both took sells, they want it to go low. Where's the nearest low? Tokyo's low is right here. So that means London would like to take it below Tokyo's low. So once it got passed over to 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock is under London's low. So if 6 o'clock can get in to something, right? Maybe there's an order block. right here. So maybe they can use this order block. So if New York would like to join Tokyo and London, they need to pick, can they get sells here or here before they just completely drop it? Because sometimes Tokyo and London can drop it far enough to where New York has no choice but to just let it drop first and then buy it up later. So let's see what happens at 6 o'clock here. 6 o'clock does not fall below Tokyo's low. It goes up first. Goes down to Tokyo's low and drops. So it goes up first. There must have been an order block there somewhere, maybe on the 5-minute. Let's check it out. Oh, would you look at that? So right here, here's an order block. What time is this? 6:25. They get in sells. That's all they could use because there's no way they were taking it back up above this. So they took it to the first order block, and that's how they were able to get in sells. So now all countries are in sells. So now they need to take it to the most nearest area of interest, right? However you get that level is up to you. Technically, if this is the range, then maybe it's a Fibonacci level. So let's put the Fibonacci from the top to the bottom and add some negative levels to it. Let's do -5. Okay, -5 is fine. Check it out. It goes straight to the -50. Drops below. There must be another level down there. -1 maybe, -2. Cool. It touched the -1 and it touched this low down here. That's probably all they wanted. Again, it's a trap, right? So it goes right below, grabs exactly what it needs to. Now Fibonacci doesn't serve us anymore, so we can take it off so it doesn't look ugly. So now Tokyo and London got what they wanted. New York got the fucking bare minimum entry they could. Let them take it down so they can make it at least a little bit of change. And then New York will probably use this around 9:30, manipulate this level and blast it right back through all of those levels, if that's the case, right? So 9:30 should come around. Let's see it. 9:30 will probably reverse all this price and take us right back up. Here's 9:30, blasting, right? Because Tokyo had no, or sorry, New York had no choice but to get this mediocre entry compared to Tokyo and London. That's why this aggressive drop happened. They ate a lot from that. So now New York has to make up for money that it couldn't get. So now 9:30 should take us all the way back through these countries' levels, right? Because technically they're out now. Boom. Easy fucking day. And now you can quit your day job. You know what I'm saying? So this 936 stuff is insane when you got the chess game going down. Does this make sense, by the way?
Oh, dude, so much more. I was using it all around before.
Yeah, so this helps you create a bias, bro. And with a bias, it allows you to stick to one strategy and just stay in that play until you get the high. And that's how you fucking make 30, 40, $50,000. You know what I'm saying? In a single trade.
So I already pretty much know the answer to this, but you're using the volume anchor profile at the same time.
I mean, yeah, if so for me, no, because the volume anchor profile is what I used to use to show like if an order block was good or not. But it depends on what's serving you for the moment. So yeah, you could use it. It's gonna tell you like, hey, there's fucking zeroed out orders down here, but there's also probably an order block there, like right here. You know, and if you checked it, maybe there was no zeroed out orders because these wicks kind of touched it already. So it could have been bias for you, but in this manner, they're not worried about small intricacies. They're just worried about like algorithm guarantees. The algorithm can't do shit if all the countries got in together and they want a level. So once that's done, all the algorithm can do is do the retracement. So no matter if there's zeroed out orders or not, they just need the countries to get out. What happens when you need to get out of cells? If in order to get out of cells, you need to press the buy button. So if all the countries got into cells, eventually when they get to where they're going to want to cash out. So they're going to have to get in buys. And when all the countries need to get out, the market has no choice but to get bought up really aggressively. That's what causes it to go up to a new high again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you. I didn't mean to say it like that. I just meant what I like to do is use that volume anchor profile to like identify the zero orders in the order blocks, and then I
Yeah.
color code them a different color. And then 9 times out of 10, like when you see those long reaches like that, it's usually what they're reaching to grab and then
Exactly.
bounce back up.
Yeah, perfect. That, bro, So what
What do
you're
you mean by
describing,
zeroed out orders?
zeroed out orders is this. There's this little box. Let's say this is an order block. You go to where is shit at? You go down to the anchored volume profile, grab that, click the order block. It's going to show you all the orders, and you'll see there's uh, one side of the trade is full of orders, and the other side has 0 orders. So inside of this order block, there's only buy orders. So when we say zeroed out orders, there's 0 sells here. So if the market came back down here, there's no sell orders. There's only buys. So like it can only react in one way, if that makes sense. So that's what zeroed out orders are. Mm. Is that good or
Yeah. No, I use that. When I look at the order block sometimes, I just didn't know if I was using it properly. Like I kind of understood it. I was like 50-50 on it.
yeah, so basically what Jesse just said is the best way you could potentially look at that. So what he said is he checks his order blocks, right? Let's say he extends it and he sees like, all these zeroed out order blocks. He will color code the area of interest. So I think there would need to be a better order block though. Let's check this one. Right, hypothetically speaking, let's say we're looking at this order block, right? This probably isn't going to work because it's too high, but at least it'll get our point across though. So let it pop up for a second. All right, so here's the order block. We don't have zeroed out orders in the whole order block. There's only a certain area. So hypothetically speaking, maybe it's only this. So then he'll color code this area of the order block a different color. And it's going to tell him like, hey, if it goes into this area, that's the zeroed out orders of the order block. So he won't take buys beforehand. He's going to wait until it actually touches the zeros before actually using that order block. So it adds a little bit more precision to it. Is that what you meant, Jesse?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's the best way you can look at it for sure, bro. So, so when I was giving my answer, it wasn't saying that yours is wrong. It's just that's what works for you, and that's how you choose to approach it. When I'm using 936 strategy, like it just makes sense. Like I don't even care about like orders or anything. There's just certain levels that they use, and that's the way I've always done it. So I just never tried to add that layer to it. But I'm sure if I did, it'll probably provide even more accuracy to it. You know what I mean? But
I got you. Yeah, I'm still practicing setting up the 936 myself.
yeah.
So that's why I was just trying to add that to see if that was something that you had. But right now it seems to help my ideology in the beginning of the day before market opens.
Mm. Yeah, bro. The shit is fucking insane. Like I didn't pre-plan what I just showed you right now. I just picked a random thing on the chart and broke it down, and that shit worked out to the T. So it's a real thing and it works very, very well. So if you can master it, bro, it's absolutely insane. It keeps you on the right side of the trade all the time.
Yeah, I'm glad I asked because I was using that like all wrong.
Yeah, hell yeah. So if I may, right, everything that we just talked about right now has taken place right here in this box. But look at this bigger scenario, right? We talked about traps earlier. Like that whole 936 thing created this whole fiasco here, which became a trap, right? Trapping the sellers after this point who joined in with the countries but never got out and then got taken out by the highs here. And then you see the order blocks right here. Order blocks and stop losses from these guys that got trapped came up, grabbed them out of it, could come back into the mid range. Another sell opportunity right there for a nice trade. Did that make sense, or can I run that back?
Can you run back that last part really quick? Just let me run.
I got you. Check it. So, so inside of, I'm gonna color code this, right? This here is the 936 strategy that we just broke down. So if you guys saw all of that, 936 said countries are going to sell it off. So they sell it off. It goes down to something, right? We don't care where it goes down to, right? Hypothetically speaking, right? We don't care. At this point in time, this is the data we have, and we're right here. And there's an order block right here. And this order block is a sell side order block, meaning it's probably going to go down. If we just take that, right, be like, oh, it's order block, going to go down, then yeah, you can press the sell button, fine. But if we want to sound a little bit more smarter and be more confident in this scenario, 936 is done. They caused the market to go down already. This is our range. We talked about traps. They will take sells here. And by they, I mean traders. So retail traders take sells. If they don't get out with the countries, the moment 930 happens, this is market open, it's going to go right back above to wherever they got in sells. And now their stop losses exist up here. Stop losses exist above the high. So if you got in sells here, the high is right here. So this is where your stop losses will be hunted. And there's an order block. So not only did we come from a trap that they trap sellers into, now they're going to trap buyers because buyers are going to want to go for buys. And the people who are trying to get out of their position also have to go for buys, but they're in a sell side order block. This is a perfect opportunity for manipulation because now we have too many orders to the downside and the upside, which is where we can get a push above the order block and a drop. So now it looks like the order block isn't being used properly. The pressure for buys is good, but technically they're just using that to manipulation. So you press the sell button because we know the order block wants it to go down and whoever was trapped here is about to have to get out. So now they push this down and this is the range. So we just want it to go back to the middle of the range because we know premium and discount says if we go outside the top of the box and come back in, we need to go to the middle. If we can't hold the middle, we need to go to the bottom. So after that order block, we get our entry, take it to midpoint. Technically, we can get out there, but if it goes under the midpoint, it needs to go to the bottom of the box. There's also an order block down there. Boom, order block and bottom of the box. We can take that trade, get out of it. Technically, if you wanted buys here, you can try it to see if it'll go back above the box. Right, there it goes, right? Top of the box perfectly from this order block. So that was another buy opportunity for a trade. Straight there, take profit again. Another order block is here and the top of the box. Take sells, fall below this point of the order block here. Like so many different trade opportunities. So,
Hey, so I got a question.
what was up?
You said if it goes below the 50, then it has to reach the bottom. Are you talking about like the wick or the candle like close?
Just the wick. So
Uh,
wicks shows price movements. Candles just show you where price is like closed in itself. So yeah, the guarantee is always about the wick. If the candle just so happens to close up there too, that's okay, but it's always about the wick.
Okay.
Yeah, bro. It just needs to touch. As long as it touches, that's technically good enough. You know what I mean? Just to be more precise with it, I can show you. So for example, even just the order block here, right? It just taps the midpoint. It doesn't even need to close. It just touches it. That's good enough. And that's enough to turn it around. Yeah.
Thanks for explaining a lot of this stuff. This definitely clarified a lot of little things.
Hell yeah, bro. This is really dope. Bro, I've been doing a lot of traveling, trying to make all these videos, get everybody schooled up. So I see you guys in the chat killing shit. So finally, we're like at this point where progress is like dope. So I want to be here as much as possible to give as much game because I feel like we can finally understand it. And don't take that in the wrong manner. It's just like I can see it now. I can see you guys seeing it, if that makes sense. So there's so much
For
sauce
sure, bro.
that
For
we can
sure.
add on. Yeah.
Dude, I feel like I learned so much shit this week, like nonstop. I was like, oh, I got a good idea of this, and like something new popped up, and I was like, I just learned something new.
Hell yeah. There's so much stuff. So it's just a matter of picking something and making it work for now. But as long as you guys can see the potential of it as well, this shit can be turned up to some crazy levels, but we need to get the equity up first. So I know I would love to just put you guys on some crazy shit and be like, yo, like, this, and this, and this. But if we're stretched too thin on the financial aspect of it, we won't be able to participate too often. So we need to get the money right first, obviously. Like, that's the goal. So if we can get the money right first, then we can finally have like these fucking like business conversations. And that's where we're trying to make these millionaire friends. You know what I mean? So if we can become the millionaire friends for each other by picking one strategy, making it work, making that first $1 million is very difficult because it's never been done. But when it is made, you can do it again. So if we can get that strategy to perform in that manner, then we can really just go crazy. So I don't want to inflate anyone's head, during this journey, but you guys are way ahead of when I was doing this shit. You know what I mean? So in 1 year, even in a short period of time, because a lot of you are on different roads of trading right now. Some of you have been doing it for a year, 2 years. Some of you have been doing it for fucking 2 months. And to hear you guys speak the way you speak, absolutely insane. So give yourself as much. I've been trading for 9 years, bro. So your 9 year mark versus mine right now is gonna be totally fucking different. And I'm excited to see how it plays out. So yeah, I'm down to do these calls every Sunday, bro. We're on here trying to do the thing. And if I can put some things in the way during the week where we can all make it too, that's dope. We all are on different time zones though, so I understand how different it may be. So I'll try to be as available as much as possible, put out content as much as possible, and give you guys everything you need so that way we can get to where we need to be, bro. Because this shit is absolutely insane. And the market's giving us way too many opportunities to not use it, you know.
Yeah,
For
bro, you're an
sure,
insane
for sure.
teacher. I feel like your analogies and shit, you paint the picture pretty well.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's all market experience, bro. I can't teach you something I've never done before. So, I try to speak with as much conviction as possible because I know I wouldn't be able to trust the leader if the motherfucker couldn't tell me straight up. You know what I mean? So I've seen a lot of generals in the military and stuff like that where I would not go to war with this boy, and I don't want to be one of them. So if I can be here and preach the good preach, and if it makes sense to everyone, however many ways I gotta say it, I'm gonna get it done so that way we can all move forward with the right step, and have each other's backs in that manner. So I like to use those military philosophies that I've learned and try to bring it here because I think it fits right in, at least for my brain. And it's what made me successful today. So I'm trying to keep that same camaraderie, at least in our community here as traders, because trading is very psychological and can be heavy if you're doing it on your own. So, having the band of brothers going through the same shit, make some memes, laugh about it when we fuck up. But the ultimate goal is to get the bread. So the moment we all can get to that point in time, I think it'd be a very dangerous community and we can get some shit done. So just give it time, bro. That's all it is. You got to see the play, see the opportunities, and take advantage of it. So I think we got the right conversation at the table, and we're all speaking the same language now. So I can get a little more advanced with this stuff.
Oh yeah. Can I ask one more quick question?
Yeah.
I don't know what your schedule's like. So on 1, 2, 3 retracement for an entry point, right? It's a touch of the trend line or um the order block. Are you waiting till that candle closes out to get in, or like when are you like you see it developing and you're like, okay, like how are you picking the exact moment you want to buy?
Got you. So no, I don't wait till candles close. How do I say this? So for me, before I didn't have a mentor, right? I was very egotistical. So in that manner, I couldn't trust what I put on the charts because I made it. So I'm fucking drawing lines on this thing. And I'm like, yeah, market's gonna go down there and it's gonna fucking turn around because I put a line there. Um, it didn't sit right with me back then because I was like, fuck, I don't know if that's gonna work or not. So there's no way it would just go down. I would touch it and buy and then be really confident. But now I have a lot of skin in the game for doing this. I've tested so many strategies and this one has worked so well for me. So I know damn well, bro, if this little 1, 2, 3 shit fucking connects, if this thing connects this, then that means if I extend it across, If it ever touches it again, it's gonna bounce. So that being said, right, 1, 2, 3, right? Here's the first touch. Here's the second touch. If there is an order block, great. If there's not, then there's nothing we can really do. I don't think there's an order block there. Yeah, maybe there's one on a smaller time frame, but hypothetically, just for visual purposes, let's put an order block here. All right. So hypothetically speaking, there's a fucking order block. So for me, I'm not gonna hesitate. I want to see this candle move down. The moment it touches, just like that, I'd get in. I just press the fucking button. Obviously, it's up here, so it's not gonna look that great. But if it goes down, I'm pressing that button. I'm getting in, and now that I'm in, cool. What is in the way, right? So just taking it to the first order block or first high, whatever it is. And then from there, I'm able to watch the candles fluctuate, right? A lot of tests. But as long as it holds the 1, 2, 3 idea, I can grab an entry. The lower I can get it or the more accurate I can get it on the line, the easier it is to hold the trade when it comes down to like test us, right? Because again, let me replay this so we can really see what just happened. So 1, 2, 3 is already made, right? This first touch and this second touch, they give you the trajectory of where it technically needs to hit again. So again, I've been doing this for a while, so I know damn well I've seen it 100 times already. It goes down and it touches it, it's gonna fucking react to it. So if it's going to, I'm not gonna hesitate of getting in. So I get in. And again, the lower you get your entry, the better. So you don't have to see any red numbers. So if you got in exactly there, let's just put a little line there so you can see. That's the line we're looking at. Does it come back and ever touch that line again? I bought too high and I'm still red. And the trade is looking pretty ugly right now. I'd be scared right now. And I'd say, fuck, I need to get out. But instead, I can just put my stop loss wherever it needs to go. So for example, under the wick, if I got in there, it would probably be a break-even stop loss. But instead, I got in here. Again, never actually fell to that low, never actually went back to this point of touch, sorry. So yeah, I won't have to stress about it if I got the best entries possible. That's why the 1, 2, 3 strategy exists, the way we view it. So I'm teaching you the 1, 2, 3 because this is the way that I've seen it happen to me 100 fucking times. No YouTuber is gonna fucking give you this because unfortunately it sounds too simple to be true, but it works and is really real. So again, yeah, that's how you should approach the entry of the 1, 2, 3 at least. Is that explanation
I,
chill or?
I also think identifying the order blocks that are in the way makes that ideology help you a lot better. Because like if there's like nothing really there and you just got like a small one, you're like, okay, it's gonna touch this and bounce. There may be a bigger one that, like we said earlier, identify with the zero orders that could be lower in a different time frame that it's just gonna obliterate right through that first one and just try to grab the next one.
I swear.
So just trying to identify that is a big thing.
It's true. No, that is facts though. You get caught a lot with that ideology for sure. There's actually a section in the course. I think I talked about it in order blocks where it's like manipulation, order block manipulation. So like it sometimes will pass an order block. Technically it's not closed yet, reaches for another one, uses that, and then extends all the way back up and keeps it. So technically that order block was the one you were aiming for, which is a really good point. Because if the order block doesn't have zeroed out orders and the next one does, then you probably want to wait for that. And then that picture will look a little better for your 1, 2, 3 as well. So I think that's pretty fire tip, bro.
Can't be releasing all the sauce.
Yeah, that's facts. Yeah, you got too much sauce in here, bro. Yo, by the way, for what I was just showing you guys on the weekly, this is a really good way to practice, by the way. Go to the weekly chart, and if you do this, you can play the candles and they move like actual candles, right? It goes like up and down. So it kind of shows you the reactions of levels and you can test yourself a little better if you're just strictly like trying to aim for technicals. right? Because you can see here like little order blocks, and then you can see the reactions of these things. Touches the order block right there. Oh shit, I'm take sells, and then fucking actually goes down and you take profit. Technically, it never needed to hit any lows because that's the only guarantee. Right? Closes out the order block, is gone. So cool way to test yourself if back testing doesn't really suffice for you. Yeah, man. This is definitely a very packed call of a lot of shit, but I can tell you guys had a lot on your mind. So the questions were fire as fuck. I hope everything that we've talked about at least can provide some truer vision for the trading week that's about to take place tomorrow. So, so we got a lot of news coming up this week. If you guys can see my screen right now, Monday through Friday. So Monday all the way to Wednesday. No red folders until 2 p.m. on that Wednesday, which is a federal meeting. So we know how those go. We definitely shouldn't trade, but it's up to you if you're going to participate in it or not. And then Thursday will be unemployment claims, which is always pretty fire. And then Friday is revised UOM consumer sentiment. I have no idea what that is, so we'll check that out prior to Friday to make sure we're equipped for it. But yeah,
Did you
Wednesday.
say Wednesday we shouldn't trade?
No, yeah, it's if you don't have the experience with federal meetings, just leave it alone, bro. Um, let's try to. It'll be like 2 a.m. for me on Wednesday, so I'll try to keep my eyes open. But if we all get on Zoom, check out the Fed meeting, watch Jerome Powell talk shit for a little bit, we can see the reaction on the market based off of his words. Is pretty fascinating if you've never seen it before.
But
Yeah, so I'm down with that though, but I'll keep you guys updated throughout the week. I added the onboarding call for the mentorship onto the course. So if you guys go to the course, it should be under, it should be a new video on there. So that was the video that we had some time zone confusions on based off the email and stuff like that. So that video's on there if you want to check it out. But basically everything you heard today is bangers, bro. So it's gonna make that video feel mediocre, probably, but still worth the repetition, I guess. Yes, sir. But appreciate y'all chilling with me and shit today. Hopefully you're able to take something from today's call. I'll get the video downloaded as well, and I'm gonna put it on our YouTube, and I'll put it in a playlist. So there's a bunch of videos that are already on the YouTube. So I'll send you guys the link on Discord if you don't have it already. And I've been adding all of the old live Zooms to YouTube. So you can check it out for sure.
With the YouTube link, do we have to like send a confirmation to be able to get access to that, or is it just because I know it seems to be private?
Yeah, it's private. I'm not sure. I think the link should suffice. Like if I put it in there, I think that link should allow whoever has that link to use it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should be fine, I'd imagine. But if it's not, then I'm sure I'll figure something out and make it work for us.
Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for taking the time to come out on this Sunday and do this with us.
Yeah, sure. Appreciate
yeah,
you.
thank you, bro. It's great.
Yes, sir. All right, cool. I appreciate y'all for sure. Thank you. Let's get busy this week. So I'll be there for it. Hopefully we can make some bands.
Hell yeah.
All right, fellas. Appreciate y'all. I'll talk to y'all soon, man. Peace.
Deuces.